Well, the time has come and it's time to talk about the giant Game Boy Classic I'm building. Anyway, I figured I'd talk about it more today because my original Game Boy Advance SP has finally crapped out. It either needs a new battery or it needs a new charger. I have yet to find out, but I will be making a video on repairing this thing in the future if it turns out to be an interesting failure. But yeah, with that said, this Game Boy Classic isn't done. I just want to talk about where I'm currently at with it, and overall, it is pretty over-finished. All I really have to do is paint it up in a few places and add the speaker grills. Now that's the part that worries me. If you guys have a better way of making speaker grills, let me know and I'll try that out. However, I don't have access to a jigsaw or many other tools at the moment, so this might actually end up turning more or less into a Game Boy Color styled giant Game Boy than an actual Game Boy Classic Game Boy. Anyway, it doesn't really bother me, but I will have to order new vinyl if I do end up changing the design of this thing overall. And yes, before you say it, I do plan to add some vinyl as well as some window trimming to fix that messed up cut I did near the window for the giant Game Boy screen. I know it's not a straight cut, so I'm hoping if I get some really stiff window trim or door trim to a car, I can cover that up, kind of make it look a little nicer and paint over it. And once I'm done doing that, I'll add the vinyl stickers to it to make it actually look like a Nintendo licensed Game Boy. Anyway, besides overall appearance, how does this thing actually run compared to like the DS or the Game Boy Advance I have currently lying around? It actually runs pretty good in my opinion. You can turn it on and overall it boots up Retroarch right away, and you don't really ever have to restart it. Like every now and again you'll have a failure when you boot it up, like something boots up a little bit slow. This can be alleviated though if you get a better hard drive. I'm currently just using a non-SSD in there. However, I will be putting an SSD in there one day so it boots up a little bit quicker, and that way Retroarch doesn't hang or accidentally trip up and go into windowless, borderless full screen mode. That's something I've tend to notice with Retroarch. If it boots up just a little bit slower and another window comes up over top of it, it will go into windowless, borderless full screen instead of actual full screen. This means whenever you use the on-screen or on-board controls built into the giant Game Boy, they won't always function right away. However, I've fixed this issue, fixed it by adding a timer and making a batch file. That way when the device turns on, it will say Game Boy activated, and after it says that, you got about 15 seconds before Retroarch automatically opens up, and in which case, everything should be already loaded, and then Retroarch should come in without it actually going into borderless full screen, meaning that it actually works first go right off the bat, which is nice. Anyway, besides that little glitch in the software, which I'm sure will be addressed in time by either the Retroarch team, or perhaps by a different front end, I'll probably try CoinOps or Hyperspin sometime in the future, but for now, I like the overall look of this thing and how Retroarch performs. And as you guys can currently see on video probably, since I recorded some video of this before my camera battery or my SD card got full, I recorded me playing some Outrun as well as some Legend of Zelda. And as you can see, both the on-screen controls and the controller controls that I have set up to work with a wireless controller work pretty damn well. Now, there are some things I'd like to add in the future, like I said, like an HDMI out, as well as a Bluetooth adapter since there's no built-in Bluetooth to this motherboard as far as I'm aware. That way I can output the sound from the giant Game Boy to either headphones or just straight up to my house speakers since there's speakers throughout this whole house. Now I think that would be pretty cool. You'd be doing some Legend of Zelda and when you swing your sword you'd hear it go all around the house. Kind of like a surround sound effect. I think that would actually be really cool if I can get that done. So I'm hoping I can get something like that situated with it. But yeah, other than that, all the software and everything on the giant Game Boy, like I said, works fine. I got all my PS1 games loaded up in there, all my Game Boy, this is going to make a bad noise, Game Boy Advanced games loaded up in there. I even have some of my DS games loaded up in there, however that's just more of a gimmick. I don't really play DS games on the giant Game Boy. However, if I wanted to, there is an option and I can in fact do it. But yeah, besides some of the cosmetic things, such as adding the HDMI and painting it, there is another thing I'd like to add, and I'd like to add a 3.5mm headphone jack at the bottom of the unit. I know it's a little bit tacky and you don't really need it, because once it's standing up, you're not going to be able to bend a 3.5mm headphone into it. But, you know, maybe I can get a L bracket or L-shaped 3.5mm jack to plug in, and maybe I'll add that into it eventually. But yeah, for now, that's basically where I'm at with this project, and I have to say, I love it. Overall, every time I come over to my place, or every time I stay here or have a friend over, I pretty much play the thing constantly. Like, I know it's not done, I shouldn't even touch at it till it's done, but it's just so damn fun, I can't resist it, you know? Anyway, if you were to attempt this project, let me know down below, and also, if you try to go away with this the same way that I did, using the 3.5mm arcade buttons, I highly recommend you get the spacing of those 100% correct, especially if you're doing the directional pad with them. If you don't have the spacing exactly even, I've noticed that when you go to push up or something, you can sometimes push left or right by mistake, just because the way these buttons are, they're hypersensitive, okay? Now, you can fix this just by adding some spacers underneath or a piece of cardboard. In my case, I have a little bit of a cardboard sheet under there. However, I plan to replace that with some kind of rubber inlay. That way, when you push on the directional pad up, you're not putting all your force on all the buttons at once, which does happen sometimes. Some games don't play well with the built-in controls, while other ones play fine, I've noticed. But yeah, with that said, before I keep on rambling, I'm gonna leave today's video off here, but before I go, I'll probably show some more gameplay up on screen for you guys of me playing this thing. But yeah, that's basically it for this video, and I'm gonna leave this off here now. TTPK signing off. Peace.
Keys out.
Okay, goodbye, Keys. I'll talk to you later.
We need to find the security override to get this door open.
PlayStation 3 you got, as well as what firmware you're on, you should be good to go. Other than that...